Broadcasting live from Shibuya, Tokyo, this is your host, Aaron Randall. Welcome to American Hot Topics. Today we're going to talk about various and new items that are hot and trending in America. Things that are most commonly unknown to Japanese. Today's program is brought to you by Kotobanku.
この番組は某国立大学で英語を教えているアーロンと英語学習中のジュンがお送りいたします。
This week we're going to talk about April Fools and good lies and bad lies and the onion. Hello everyone and thank you for joining us on another episode of American Hot Topics. This is your host Aaron. I'm here with June. And June, the cherry blossoms are finally coming out, right?
今日4月1日ですけど、本当今日満開ですね。
Yes, you can see them everywhere in the city. And it is April 1st, which means it's April Fool's Day. June, have you heard of April Fool's Day?
まあ日本でもありますけどね、もう SNS でしょうもない嘘書いたり、結婚しましたとか転職しましたとか、かまってちゃんめんどくせえっていう印象ですけどね。
Well, you should tell them on Facebook, comment or something.
そうですね。まああと最近だと IT サービスで特設サイトが多い日ですよね。
Yes, Google is a big one who participates in April Fools around the world. Really, growing up in America, April Fools was always a day to look forward to, especially when I was younger in school. It was always fun to look forward to what kind of pranks would get pulled on days like today.
どんなことするんですか?
Well, in America, the real pranks start in middle school, right? I wouldn't say it was all that funny, especially for the teachers, but April Fools was a day to act out, right? For example, running into a teacher's class and spraying them with silly string. And then running out. It was usually another teacher's class, usually a teacher that we knew well. And silly string isn't harmful or anything. It's just this colorful sticky string that can be sprayed from a can. And it's really hard to pull off your clothes.
今動画見てるんですけど、なんかすごい思ったよりもすごい勢いでスプレーからプシュって糸みたいなのが飛んでるんですか？これイメージスパイダーマンが手から糸を噴射するみたいな感じですね。
Yeah, I mean this stuff flies, man, and there's a lot of string per can. So if you can get someone in a closed area, you can spray them for a good few minutes or so.
最悪ですね。シリーストリングは1970年頃米国で発売された玩具パーティー用品。スプレー缶の中に合成樹脂が入っていて噴射すると長い糸状になる。典型的には結婚式、誕生パーティーなどにおいて紙吹雪と同様に使われる。まあだから一応パーティーグッズだから許容範囲ってことなんですかね。
Yeah, and if they sell it in Japan, I'm willing to bet they have it at Don Quixote. So another prank that was often carried out by middle school kids and myself was throwing a smoke bomb into another class's room. June, have you ever used a smoke bomb before?
ないですよ。
Oh, really? So smoke bombs are just small fireworks designed to produce smoke upon ignition, right? Lighting it. They usually spit out green, purple, or pink smoke. Of course, you don't want to be in the same room as someone with a smoke bomb. So if someone lights one off, everybody goes running. This is why in middle school, as an April Fool's joke, we used to light them and throw them into classrooms, the cafeteria, and even once at the school dance.
これ画像検索すると思った以上に煙出てますよ。
Yeah, it's pretty beautiful, right?
いや、これ密室に投げるとこも最高ですけど、でもこれ私が行ってた学校でやったら下手したら停学ですね。
Ah, right. Yeah. What's interesting is when I was in middle school, pulling these kinds of pranks were okay. But after 9/11, all of the schools became very, very cautious with pranks. Smoke bombs were no longer funny. So pulling this kind of prank today would definitely land a kid in jail, or at least get them suspended from school.
はいはいはい。まあ、だって前に時計作っただけで逮捕された人いましたもんね。
Right, Ahmed Mohammed got arrested for just making a clock, right? Things are a lot stricter today for sure. So let's talk a little bit about April Fool's Day. April Fool's Day, sometimes called All Fool's Day, is celebrated every year on the 1st of April by playing practical jokes and spreading hoaxes. The jokes and their victims are called April Fools. People playing April Fool jokes expose their prank by shouting, April Fools!
それいたずらした人がドッキリでしたみたいな感じでやるんですか?
Right, so like after you spray the guy with silly string, maybe you yell at him, April Fools! As you, right?
エクスキューズも含めてね。
Yeah, right.
まあ、っていうことはやっぱり日本よりも文化としてやっぱりアメリカの方が定着してる。
Right, this is a very fixed part of American culture, right?
これ子供だけじゃなくて大人もやるんですか?
Absolutely, yeah. You know, grown men and women in their offices often pull April Fool's jokes on each other.
はい
And it's really kind of a part of a lot of companies' culture too,
はいはい
to make the
はい
workplace more fun. So historically, April Fool's Day can be traced back to the 19th century. Today, some newspapers, magazines, and other published media report fake stories, which are usually explained the next day or below the news section in small letters. So let's look at some of the best April Fool's Day pranks from the past. First, we have the scientist radio prank. In 1976, British astronomer Sir Patrick Moore told listeners on BBC Radio 2 that unique alignment of two planets would result in an upward gravitational pull, making people lighter at precisely 9:47 a.m. that day. He invited his audience to jump in the air and experience a strange floating sensation.
はいはい9時47分ちょうどに重力の関係でちょっとジャンプするとなんか体が軽くなるふわっと感が味わえるよって嘘をついたわけですね。
Dozens of listeners phoned in to say the experiment had worked. Among them, a woman reported that she and her 11 friends were wafted from their chairs and orbited gently around the room.
すごいですね、嘘の力って。1976年。
Next is the Great Blue Hill Eruption Prank. On April 1st, 1980, Boston television station WNAC-TV aired a fake news bulletin at the end of the 6 o'clock news which reported that Great Blue Hill in Milton, Massachusetts was erupting. The prank resulted in panic in Milton, where some residents began to flee their homes. The executive producer of the 6 o'clock news was fired by the station for his failure to exercise good news judgment.
へえ、こんな山あるんですね。194メートル知ってました？
I didn't know about this particular mountain, no.
はい、まあでもこの事例はなんか当時のそのテレビというメディアの影響力の大きさっていうのが伺えますね。
Yes. Next is the Taco Liberty Bell prank. The Taco Liberty Bell was an April Fool's Day joke played by fast food restaurant chain Taco Bell. On April 1st, 1996, Taco Bell took out a full-page advertisement in 7 leading U.S. newspapers announcing that the company had purchased the Liberty Bell to reduce the country's debt and renamed it to the Taco Liberty Bell. Thousands of people had called Taco Bell headquarters and the National Park Service before it was revealed at noon on April 1st that the story was a hoax. White House Press Secretary Mike McCurry responded that the federal government was also selling the Lincoln Memorial to Ford Motor Company and renaming it the Lincoln Mercury Memorial.
このリバティベルって本当にタコベルのロゴとそっくりなんですけど、これなんか有名な鐘なんですか？
Yes, every American learns about the Liberty Bell usually in elementary school. It's a symbol of American independence.
でもホワイトハウスが乗っかってくるっていうのがすごいですね。
Yeah, yeah. And finally, we have the Walmart superglue prank. So a Walmart shopper was left screaming for help after he fell victim to a prankster who smeared superglue all over a toilet seat in a Maryland store the day before April Fool's. The 48-year-old man only realized what had happened when he tried to stand up and found he was stuck firmly to the seat. Police wouldn't reveal how long he was trapped inside the restroom, but said the industrial adhesive was so strong they couldn't unstick him there. Instead, they had to unbolt the entire toilet seat and take it with the man still attached back to the hospital. Doctors eventually managed to remove the seat, leaving the victim with minor injuries to his buttocks.
これ最悪っていうかなんかもはや許しがたいレベルなんですけど、これジョークとして成立するんですか？
I mean, I don't laugh at the poor guy that, was completely sealed to the toilet seat, but I laugh at the ridiculousness of the situation,
はいはい。こういうジョークっていうか嘘にはいい嘘と悪い嘘があると思うんですよね。で今まで挙げてもらったやつは正直微妙で個人的には冒頭で言ったそのかまってちゃんジョークとあんまり変わらないのかなって思うんですよね。
Really?
じゃあ何がいい嘘か知りたいですか？
Yeah, I guess I'm interested.
まあでは日本が誇る嘘サイト虚構新聞さんから個人的な嘘の恒例をご紹介します。では一つ目はこちら。五輪国事劇場ロゴ3万年前の壁画に国事。2020年東京五輪の公式エンブレムがベルギーの劇場のロゴデザインに酷似していると指摘された問題で、このロゴと類似した模様がスペイン北部の洞窟壁画として描かれていることが分かった。 T の字をモチーフにしたデザインは約3万年前から存在していたことになる。
The official emblem of the 2020 Tokyo Olympics was criticized for being too similar to a Belgium theater logo design. The pattern also resembled cave paintings that were found in northern Spain. The design has also the motif of the letter T, which is said to have existed for 30,000 years.
これはもうデザインした方含めすごいいろいろ叩かれた事件ですよね、もうだいぶ昔のことみたいですけど、でその選考プロセス含めてもいろんな観点から批判があったんですけど、でもパクリだっていうのがまず第一にあったじゃないですか、でその人の過去作で明確にトレースっぽいのもあって、もちろんそれは NG なんですけど、もうデザインとか音楽ってある意味いろんな作品からの相互影響、相互作用があって、もうそもそものオリジナリティって何なのって話は常にあるじゃないですか。
Right. So everything we create is influenced and based off of something. It's impossible to say that someone can create something completely new and original. All art and creations are built in influence.A good example is in the 1960s. The Beatles over in London and the Beach Boys back in America were making albums at the same times, right? And then the Beach Boys would come out with an album, and then the Beatles would listen to that and be influenced by it. And their next album kind of sounded like the Beach Boys, right? But it was an evolution of that, right? And then the Beach Boys did the same thing. They listened to the Beatles' new album, and then their album evolved a little bit out of the influence from the Beatles. And this is the way that music and art evolve, right?So if we start pointing fingers at each other and blaming each other for copying and stealing and ripping off each other's work and content and art, this is going to kill the evolutionary process of art itself. And that is probably the satire of the article, right?
そうそう、業界観光でいいとか悪いとかっていうのはもちろんあるんでしょうけどね、でもそのやろうとしたら何でもイチャモンつけられますよねって話で、当時そのもう本当に全然関係ない第三者が憂さ晴らしのようにもう全部パクリだと最低だしねみたいな声もあった中で、この嘘記事っていうことで、アーロンが言ったみたいにオリジナリティとは何かを問いかけるような皮肉ですよね、多分。続きまして2つ目、スマホに貼るだけ音質改善するシール発売。パソコン周辺機器メーカーのバッキャローはスマートフォンに貼るだけで音質改善を謳うシールババを発表した。特殊形状に配置されたシート状の金属板がスマホ内部に発するノイズを整え、音質を改善する効果があるという。
So, Bacchiaro, a PC peripheral equipment manufacturer company, has announced the release of the seal VAVA. The seal, when applied to a smartphone, improves the device's sound quality.This is due to the special shape the seal has and a noise emitted from inside, which helps to advance the audio quality altogether.
これとか危うく信じかねないですからね、そして信じたからといってもう決してバカにできないですよ、これは技術の魔法性、最近もう何でもできるようになってきてるんで、確かにそんな技術あるのかもっていう部分と、あともう技術のブラックボックス性、何でもできる一方、そのどんどんすごくなる技術の原理はますます多くの人にとって分からなくなっている、こういう状況を象徴するような嘘ですよね。
Right. The thing is, people no longer understand kind of the principles of technology, so to say. The technology embedded in products created by humans is becoming less and less understood by those humans. There is, in fact, a divergence in human technology and human understanding. This article brings to light this situation.
もう個別の技術が深まりすぎちゃって、もう多くの人は何も評価できない、何も判断できないし、コントロールできない、そして与えられたものを信じるしかないっていう状況を示唆してますよね。
Right. To a certain extent, the article has the same message as the Terminator movies, in which humans create a world beyond their understanding and control.
虚構新聞さんの一嘘でターミネーターレベルっていうね。続きまして、ダメ押しの3つ目の嘘。1000年に1匹、世界最優秀美人子。美しいミジンコと書いて美人子ですね。世界最優秀美人子決まる。世界で最も美しいミジンコを競うミスミジンコ世界大会がロンドンで開かれ、中国代表の美人子が今年のミスミジンコに選ばれた。
So, Miss Daphnia, a world convention where the most beautiful Daphnia, or water flea, is decided, was held in London. A Chinese Daphnia, or water flea, was chosen as the most beautiful Daphnia this year.
これなんか分かりやすいですよね。
From a human's perspective, Daphnia all look the same. It makes no difference how you look at them, they look the same. They are 6 of one and half a dozen of the other.
はいはい、50歩100歩的なことですよね。
Yes.
要は人がミジンコを見てもどれも同じようにしか見えないんだと。だからその美を過剰に意識して生きづらくなっちゃってる人に対するメッセージかもしれないですよね。
Yeah.
どうですか？
It's a pretty good lie.
やっぱりこういうその我々の状況の一面をハッと自覚させてくれるような嘘はもういい嘘というかおしゃれな嘘で、どうせ嘘つくんだったらこういう嘘にすべきだと思うんですよね、エイプリルフールに。 何まあ実は今そのアメホの公式 Twitter でそのいろんな名言をボットでつぶやいてるんですけど、ちょうど今週ピカソの名言がありまして、ちょっとこれアーロンさん読んでいただけますか？
Art is a lie that makes us realize truth.
これ日本語訳すると、芸術は我々に真実を悟らせてくれる嘘であるっていう意味ですね。逆に言うと、嘘を嘘で終わらすなと。嘘によって真実を語れたらそれは芸術になるってことですよね。
No, that is quite an incredible quote from Mr. Picasso.
で、こういう観点で言うと、さっきアーロンさんが紹介したやつは結構悪い嘘だよね。
Really?
だってボルケーノ・エラプティングは、だって第三者がさ、やったらメディアの申しに対する皮肉になるけど、これテレビ局が自分でやってますから、もう単なる嘘ですし、ウォルマートの接着剤なんてもうただの本当に陰湿な犯罪ですからね。
Right, but this kind of prank is really funny from an American perspective, right?
本当ですか？怖いですよね、アメリカ。
Yeah.
あとジャンプしたら浮くっていう嘘は、これは音質改善シールに近いっちゃ近いですけど、科学者が自分でついちゃったらそれもただの嘘になっちゃいますからね。タコベルは好きだから許すとしてこうしてみると嘘って結構誰がつくか、その嘘つきになる人の立場が大事だと思うんですよね。その真実と嘘を見分けられる当事者がやっちゃうと本当に単なる嘘になっちゃって、その冒頭のかまってちゃんっぽくなるというか。
I understand where you're coming from. Actually in America we have a satire newspaper and online website called The Onion.
Onion.
Yes. The Onion is an American digital media company and news satire organization that publishes articles on international, national, and local news.
エイプリルフールに限らず、その虚構新聞さんみたいに嘘ついてるサイトってことですか？
Exactly right.
あれじゃあもしかして日本のサイトの立法府？
No, there was definitely a news satirical site from 30,000 years ago.
壁画にね、壁画からの。
So the Onion's articles cover current events, both real and fictional, satirizing the tone and format of traditional news organizations with stories, editorials, op-ed pieces, and man-in-the-street interviews, using a traditional news website layout and an editorial voice modeled after that of the Associated Press. The publication's humor often depends on presenting mundane, everyday events as newsworthy, surreal, or alarming. So let's look at an article from The Onion. The first one is, find the thing you're most passionate about, then do it on nights and weekends for the rest of your life. I can't stress this enough. Do what you love. In between work commitments and family commitments and commitments that tend to pop up and take immediate precedence over doing the thing you love. Because the bottom line is that life is short and you owe it to yourself to spend the majority of it giving yourself wholly and completely to something you absolutely hate, and 20 minutes here and there doing what you feel you were put on this earth to do.
はいはい、好きを仕事にっていう昨今の潮流と真逆な感じのメッセージですね。
Right. And here's another article. Why can't I sell any of these fucking Bibles?
で、これはニュース記事じゃなくてフェイクオピニオン記事ってことですか？
Right, so one of the most interesting things The Onion does is they fake interview very normal, boring people about their lives and draw satire out of the interviews. I honestly have no idea what the hell is going on. Why can't I seem to sell any of these fucking Bibles? I'm offering the best goddamn Bible I've ever seen. Not some piece of shit Bible that'll fall apart before you're halfway through Matthew. And still, everywhere I go, I get the door slammed in my face. What gives? Oh, man.
それはなんでそんな笑ってらっしゃるんですか？
Well, first off, this guy is obviously part of a Christian church.and has been given the task of selling Bibles. However, if you're a Christian in America, you can't say these kinds of words. Fuck, hell, shit, goddamn. Anyone who pursues selling Bibles with this kind of attitude and language represents absolutely nothing of that of a Christian. There are surprisingly a lot of people like this in America. So, it is a major hypocrisy, right? Or it's a commentary, a satire on this hypocrisy in America.
はいはいはい、言ってることとやってることのギャップみたいな感じなんですね。
Right.
やってることとしてはその聖書を売るっていうそのすごい信心深そうな、信者の方がやることで、でも言ってることはすごい汚い言葉で、なんか儲けのために投げやりにやってるような、そういう感じってことですよね。
Right. In America, it'd be like a car salesman, right?
で続きましてミニコーナー今日の英単語。アルさん、これが本日のリストになります。
Alright, so here is this week's word list. Pranks, a practical joke. Act out, to behave badly. Hoaxes, To trick or play a joke on someone. Alignment. Arrangement in a straight line. Wafted. Move with a gliding motion. Smeared. To mark something. Adhesive. Something sticky. Buttocks. Behind or butt. Satire. The use of humor, irony, exaggeration, or ridicule to expose and criticize people's stupidity. Satirizing. Criticize by means of satire. Mundane. Lacking interest or excitement. Dull. Surreal. Bizarre. Fantasy. Precedence. Priority in importance, order, or rank. You were put on this earth to do. To be born for something. Commonly believed by those of Christian faith. Slammed. Criticize severely. Hypocrisy. False virtue. Posturing. The opposite of honesty. Bulletin. A short official statement or broadcast summary of news. Divergence. Difference or variance. Daphnia. I'm not really sure how to say. Mijinko.
はい。やっぱり笑いとか嘘って文化的背景を表しますよね。だから
Absolutely.
オニオンすごい勉強になりますね。
Yes, I would recommend the Onion to all of our listeners. It is a very good tool to understand American culture. Understanding the way Americans use satire is very, very important to understanding the comedy of America and will help you to understand English a lot more.
向いていったら何もないかもしれないですけどね。本コーナーでご紹介した画像や動画は番組ホームページ www.ameho.tokyo のリンクよりご確認いただけます。面白コンテンツはリスナーの皆様からも募集中。番組のお問い合わせページよりどしどしお送りください。
Thank you for joining us this week on American Hot Topics. The music in this program was brought to you by Mateen Jahanmuri and Aaron Randall.